On February the 23rd, 2014, host country Russia would close the Sochi Olympics, having won a staggering 33 medals, more than doubling the nation's medal count from the 2010 Vancouver Games, and topping all other countries at the Winter Games. But soon after the Sochi Olympics, investigators from the World Anti-Doping Agency would make a number of intriguing discoveries. In detailed tests of Russian athletes' biological samples, 2 female hockey players' urine samples would have male DNA, and the urine samples from another Russian medalist contained genetic information from 2 different women. Such discoveries would once again reignite inspection into Russia's alleged state-sponsored doping program, which has been ingrained in Russia for the past 4 decades. Investigations relating to Russia's state-sponsored use of performance-enhancing drugs dates back as early as the 1970s, but the subject has gained significant traction over the past decade. According to Yulia Stepanova, a former Russian track and field athlete, 99% of the country's Olympians had used PEDs. There were also claims that the Russian athletic officials had supplied banned substances in exchange for a percentage of an athlete's earnings, and had also falsified tests while working alongside doping control officers. In one case, Russian long-distance runner Lilia Shabukova allegedly paid 450,000 euros to cover up her positive drug results in an attempt to participate at the 2012 Olympic Games. In November 2015, an independent commission from the World Anti-Doping Agency accused Russia of running a state-sponsored doping program, describing a system that included shadow laboratories, destroyed urine samples, and surveillance of lab workers by Russian intelligence agents. Here's how the system allegedly worked. Before the Sochi Olympics, clean urine samples from Russian athletes that were free from any performance-enhancing drugs would arrive in an anti-doping laboratory. These urine samples were then frozen and placed in a storage room, but this storage room happened to be adjacent to the official sample collection room, where bottles of urine samples were kept for all competing athletes. A small, mouse-sized hole was then drilled in between both rooms, and during midnight, a Russian FSB agent disguised as a sewer engineer would go into the storage room and would swap the tainted urine samples with clean samples through the hole in the wall near the floor. The openings were then covered with white plastic caps during the day. This allowed many Russian athletes to pass drug tests completely undetected. After the Sochi Olympics, the IOC would begin retesting old samples from Russian athletes from as far back as the 2008 Beijing Summer Olympics, following a testimony by Dr. Grigory Rodchenkov, the former director of the Russian anti-doping laboratory. Grigory, who is often described as the mastermind of Russian doping, stated that he switched out tainted biological samples for clean ones, and admits that at least 15 medalists from the Sochi Olympics were part of the state-run doping program. After a year-long investigation, the IOC imposed its first sanctions on Russia. On the 5th of December 2017, the Russian Olympic Committee had been suspended with immediate effect. However, 168 Russian athletes with no previous drug violations and a consistent history of drug testing were still able to compete at the Olympics under the OAR, which stands for the Olympic Athlete from Russia. In spite of strong opposition from athletes and anti-doping agencies across the globe, on the 20th of September 2018, the World Anti-Doping Agency would go against the wishes of numerous national anti-doping agencies and would reinstate the Russian Anti-Doping Agency under 2 conditions: accept the findings of the McLaren report, which found evidence of state-sponsored doping, and grant access to Moscow's anti-doping laboratory. The Russian Anti-Doping Agency accepted the first condition. However, the second was met with some resistance when a team of 5 WADA members traveled to Moscow and expected to be given full access to their laboratory, but on arrival, they were refused full access. I'll let you decide the reason why. The WADA eventually gained full access to Moscow's laboratory the following year, 10 days after the initial deadline, and retrieved 2,200 samples. Despite outrage from national anti-doping bodies, the WDA president described it as a major breakthrough for clean sport, and Russia was deemed compliant and subsequently not punished. However, by September 2019, it was widely reported that some of the data retrieved from the Moscow laboratory may have been manipulated and tampered with before it was retrieved by the WADA. Consequently, Russia would remain suspended from the then upcoming 2019 World Athletic Championships and faced the possible ban from hosting and competing in all major sporting events. Russian athletes who had no history of PED usage were able to compete at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics under the Russian Olympic Committee flag. Amongst these athletes was Kamila Valieva, a 15-year-old Russian champion who was favoured to win the Olympic women's figure skating gold medal, and it was no doubt that she was talented, as Valieva became the first woman to land a quadruple jump at the Beijing Olympics. However, the medal ceremony was delayed because of what the IOC initially calls an emerging legal case. According to an international testing agency, the Swedish lab reported to authorities that Valieva's sample from December the 25th contained the prohibited substance trimetazidine, which is a drug that's traditionally used to treat heart-related conditions, but has also been found to enhance an athlete's physical efficiency and endurance. Subsequently, Valieva was placed under provisional supervision, but upon appeal, she was cleared due to Valieva being a minor at the time. Under WADA guidelines, the Court of Arbitration for Sport would later rule that Valieva would be able to compete in the women's single event, deciding that preventing her from competing would cause her irreparable harm in these circumstances, though her gold medal in a team event was still under consideration. This leads us to today. As you're probably aware, due to recent international events, Russian athletes might be completely banned from the Olympic Games indefinitely. So what's your thoughts on Russia's position in the Olympic Games? Let me know in the comment section, and also be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.